but they're going to be the stars in God's universe. That's why the Bible verse says, you who said you're going to set your throne above the stars of heaven. Who's the stars of heaven? God's kids, Adam and Eve. When they achieve perfection, they grow all the way to complete their course, become the image of God on earth. All the angels got to obey them. Lucifer sees the writing on the wall. Soon, in just a little while, I got to be taking orders from a human being. I got to be taking orders from that little kid that I had to protect him from the spider was going to bite him. I stepped on the spider. Now he's going to give me orders? No, it ain't happening around here. I want to keep my position. I want my position to be above in the north, above the stars of heaven. So he begins to concoct a plan. He begins to concoct a plan which leads to the spiritual fall of human beings. That is, Lucifer begins to talk to Eve, and he is more attracted to Eve. At first, he is innocent. I just got to take care of this girl. As Eve becomes a teenager, Lucifer begins to think, man, this is God's coup de grace. Right? He says all the other animals, there are nice looking animals. Zebras, I like those. They're good looking animals around here, but Eve is a babe. She's the most beautiful. She's the apex. She's the perfection of all God's creation. Nothing on earth is as beautiful as Eve. That's poor representation. He begins to fall in love with Eve, and he realizes she's falling in love with him. And then he understands his plan. There's only one way to destroy God's plan. There's only one way to make God hurt and feel lack of love the way he feels lack of love. If he can get Eve to fall in love with him and have a sexual relationship, God's plan will be broken. Then, instead of God being the center of Eve's heart, Lucifer will be the center of Eve's heart, which he does. So he seduces Eve. She seduces Eve. Eve falls in love with Lucifer. He tricks her into having a natural sexual union between an angel who's never supposed to have a sexual union with a human and a human being, the daughter of God. That's why Jude always said they had a perverse, a weird, unnatural sexual fall. Because angels are never supposed to touch humans, but that's what happened. But after a while, Eve's eyes became open. Once she began to having, Lucifer looked gray. Oh, he's so big and buff. And look, Adam's just a little creep. He's so big and buff, has a relationship with the angel, but then she gets knowledge. She gets the inherent spiritual elements of Lucifer, feels fear of God. Lucifer feels away from God, hides her, and so she thinks, I got to get back to God. So then she says, Adam, you know, I found something really good here in the garden. I found something really good, and she gives him the fruit to eat. So what happens is she uses her sexuality to seduce Adam. She's a babe. She's more pretty than any cats, donkeys, crocodiles. It's a natural relationship. So she seduces him, striving to go back to God. She sees Adam still pure. He's still playing with the lions. He's still like a big doofus playing with lions still. She's been having this relationship with Adam. Said, where you been, Eve? I've been with Lucifer. I've been with Lucifer. So she tricks him, and then they both realize, gosh, we actually ate the fruit. God told us don't touch it. We're doomed. Hide from God. God comes, and then begins a whole history of restoration. How does God solve the problem of Adam and Eve's sin? How does God solve this giant problem of their relationship to Lucifer? So I'll draw some things on the board. Some of the results of the fall were that, number one, instead of sexuality becoming the most holy aspect, it became a dirty, terrible thing. That this rise of Lucifer, so Lucifer essentially became a tyrant who tricked Eve and then tricked Adam. So the whole history of mankind is a history of men becoming tyrants, tricking and murdering. That's why the tyrants always develop, no matter what century and what continent, we always get tyrants who are murderers. because they're only following the same spiritual nature as Lucifer, the enemy, the antagonist, Satan, humans always get the same feelings as that and become tyrants. Whether it's whoever the tyrant is, you name your own tyrant. And number two, that human beings are a spiritual being. Satan, evil spirits, try to have give and take action. So we're like this. We have one part of us that has evil, fallen nature. We have one part of us that's still created by God. So one part of us longs to return to God to find the tree of life. On the other hand, we have one part of us that seeks to do evil, to be selfish, to be self-centered, to not care about God's ideal, to only care about ourselves. That's why even religious people seek to find God. Their fallen nature makes them think, oh, no, I'm the only one who's holy. You're not. That's why Christians kill Jews. That's why Jews kill Christians. That's why Christians and Jews kill Muslims. That's why Muslims kill Christians and Jews, and they all kill Buddhists. Because on one side, religious people are striving to find this tree of life, but the reality is we're still burdened by this fallen nature that turns our desire to find God into something evil. That's a problem. That's why even we strive to love our wife strives to love us. We have an original mind that says, I should be a really good husband and love my wife no matter what. Nevertheless, we have a fallen nature. We have a fallen nature here that makes wives not want to love their husbands. And makes their husbands not want to love their wives. Makes us selfish. Where does it come from? It comes from the spiritual problem. Okay, there's lots more to this lecture. This is the introduction. 1 hour. Should take 3 or 4 hours to explain this. So many more things to explain. What's the cure? Now that we know what the poison is, what's the antidote? What's the antidote to the poison? One, of course, we have to learn to live a pure life. But not just a pure life. Pure life is not enough. It's not enough to be celibate. We have to learn how to liberate our original mind. This original part of us that was created by God. This has to become in us dominant. So this fallen nature becomes a tiny bit of us, and then eventually we get rid of all the fallen nature. We become one with God. No more fallen nature. No one that is part of God can be part of Satan. The fallen nature has to be completely gotten rid of. We believe in this century, the 21st century, we have the power through God's people to be able to accomplish this. It ain't easy, but we have the power to finally accomplish this, and in the 21st century, finally build the kingdom of heaven on earth, fulfill God's 3 blessings, and become the true original people we were always intended to be from the Garden of Eden. Thank you very much for listening, taking your time to be with us. God bless you all.